Austin News 3 meteorologist Shel Winkley joins us live from the Pedernales River southwest of Austin to show us just what this drought is doing to the landscape. Shel.
John and Meredith, I am standing in the river bottom of the Pedernales. In fact, actually strike that. I'm standing in what used to be the river bottom of the Pedernales. Behind me now, just cracked ground and docked marinas. All this week, we're bringing home the drought and letting you know how it's affecting the state of Texas and the Brazos Valley. We wanted to show you what you can expect this week, so let's go ahead and take a look at that.
It's just awful. But what really makes it bad, we had a bad 2008, a bad 2009. 2010 came in fairly good. Now 2011 comes, that's 3 out of 4 years. You can't make it in agriculture. You just can't make it.
Texas right now is definitely the hot spot for the nation in terms of drought.
I think right now it's about 15 feet low, I think, below where it should be.
In fact, scenes like this dot the riverside of the Pedernales, and if this drought continues, you can expect a lot more of it across the Lone Star State.
Drought in Texas is a recurring event, and so it's not unusual for us. Our most recent drought was the 2008-2009, and this is looking eerily similar to that.
Every cloud has a silver lining, but this one is hard to find.
Now, 75% of the state of Texas is at least in an exceptional or extreme drought. The Brazos Valley back home, we're in an exceptional drought. Again, we will be talking drought all week long, but for right now, where it's most visibly noticed, we're live here in Travis County. Shel Winkley, News 3.
Yeah,
Meredith?
just a sad picture.
Across central Texas, the telltale signs of a state with very little rain are on the wall. Lake Travis, at almost record levels a little over a year ago, is now shrinking under the heat of the Texas sun.
You can see islands out there. Yeah, out in the middle of the lake.
David Pham and his family can often be found enjoying the lakeside amenities at Pace Bend Park just to the northwest of Austin. He's been coming here for some 15 years, and he is the first to notice changes on Lake Travis.
I think right now it's about 15 feet low, I think, below where it should be.
Actually, Lake Travis is down almost 18 feet. Not a record deficit, but a painful reminder of where things are. In fact, scenes like this dot the riverside of the Pedernales, and if this drought continues, you can expect a lot more of it across the Lone Star State. $1 million homes at one time with $1 million view are now cliff sides with nothing more than views of rocks and sand below them. A painful reminder of a state in the grips of a drought. Just to the west of Austin, the hidden waters of the Edwards Aquifer supplies drinking water for almost 2 million people. And just like the drought of 2 summers ago, Stage 1 drought restrictions are now in effect.
Texas right now is definitely the hot spot for the nation in terms of drought.
Dr. Mark Wenzel monitors drought conditions for the State Water Development Board. While water levels across the state are low, Wenzel says that what we are experiencing isn't completely out of the ordinary.
Drought in Texas is a recurring event, and so it's not unusual for us. Our most recent drought was the 2008-2009, and this is looking eerily similar.
At this time last year, only 3% of the state was considered just abnormally dry. In 2011, though, almost the entire state is considered to be in a drought, with over 3/4 of that being deemed just about as bad of a situation as you can get. So what is the perfect storm to fix this drought?
It'd be remnants maybe of a tropical storm that would come in and kind of hover for a while, not be real intense, just give us some long, lingering rain.
Say hello, Nina.
Until the rain starts to fall again, Pham and his family will just keep enjoying what they can of the great outdoors.
Oh, I work at home, so whenever my wife wanted to come out here, we come out here.
In Travis County, Shel Winkley, News 3.
Also having an effect on the state's water supply.
As we continue our look into the exceptional drought plaguing the Brazos Valley, News 3 meteorologist Shel Winkley answers 2 questions. Where does our drinking water come from, and can it meet the demand of this drought?
Last week's beneficial rainfall was a welcome sight for Brazos Valley residents who are struggling to keep their lawns green. But as we all know, that hasn't been the case this spring, and folks have had to take things into their own hands to make their own rain. The outcome? Lawns, residents, and checkbooks burn down the process, and that's before we get into those hot and dry summer months. As less water falls from the sky, more water gets pulled from the water supply, which raises a few questions. Do you know where your water comes from? And do we have enough to keep up with the drought?
Some people think that the water comes from the Brazos River. A lot of people think that water comes from Lake Bryan.
Wait then. Where does it come from?
The water from College Station comes from the Simsboro Aquifer in the Carrizo-Wilcox group. We also get some water from the Carrizo Aquifer and the Sparta Aquifer.
I'm sorry, come again?
But it's entirely groundwater.
Jennifer Nations knows just about everything about water, and she'll tell you quickly why you should conserve it.
We recently pumped 18 million gallons a day, and that's normally what we pump in July. We're way ahead of where we historically have been this time of year, and with the weather report saying that the drought isn't going to get any better, we're really kind of wondering, what's next.
The man to ask that question is the one who oversees all of the groundwater in the Brazos Valley.
My name is Ralph Crum. I'm the general manager of the Brazos Valley Groundwater Conservation District.
While we are in a drought that hasn't been this bad since at least the mid-90s, some would compare it to the severe drought of the 50s, but there is some good news when it comes to what this area has to offer.
We're very fortunate within this district that the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer Group can sustain the production required to keep us all in the water, if you will. It's predicted that we'd need to see about 2 years of this level of a drought before we'd really start seeing the effects.
So, okay. Even though things above ground aren't in the best of shape, our underground sources can withstand a bit better when it comes to this drought. But if it were to drag on for 2 years, we'll need to watch the amount of water we consume now to make sure we have it later.
Kids, when they're brushing their teeth, turn off the water. Turn it back on when you're ready to rinse your mouth. Men, as we shave, don't let the water run in the bathroom sink. Fill it up, rinse our razors out.
A demand that ultimately comes down to how we, ourselves, conserve the most precious resource.
This is your drinking water supply. So when you see people that are watering in the middle of the day, or they're watering the concrete, they're letting the water run off of the sidewalk, that's their drinking water that they're wasting. It's expensive for us to get out of the ground. It's 3,000 feet deep. We're not making any more of it, so we need to really conserve it and use it wisely.
In the Brazos Valley, Shel, Winkley, News 3.
And a few more tips to help you conserve water. The extreme drought spreading across Texas has threatened farmers' livelihoods.
That's right. No rain means poor crop yield, or in some cases, no crops. News 3 meteorologist Shel Winkley visited Lee County, where some farmers are trying to etch out a living.
If you drive down Highway 21 and you're not paying attention, you may just blow right past Steinbach's. But if you stop and take a turn off the beaten path, you'll quickly find out that things aren't as green as they used to be in Lee County. The first person to tell you exactly how bad it is, Dennis Markert.
This is the worst start we had on the crop so far in in my lifetime. Left us, it's just awful. Pastures all burned. That's what's got. I done give up on most of my crops, except the ones I'm watering. That corn plant right there should be about this high right now on a normal year,
Crops didn't stand a chance with Lee County's pastures being hit hard by the extreme lack of rain. Most of them barely even made it out of the ground.
This is not what a normal corn crop should look like. This is not what a bad corn crop should look like. This is what you call about as bad as it can get, It's just terrible.
With this drought and all of his years of experience, Markert is witnessing things he never thought he would.
So what really makes it bad, we had a bad 2008, a bad 2009. 2010 came in fairly good. Call it a good year. Now if 2011 comes, that's 3 out of 4 years. You can't make it in agriculture. You just can't make it.
Markert's fate, and the fate of every other farmer across the Brazos Valley, depends on one thing: rain. And its continued lack of it makes Markert ponder the future of America's food source.
Where will the food come from? It don't come from McDonald's. It don't come from H-E-B. It all starts out here, If it's tough out here, that gets handed on down. Oh, if you want to bad enough, you'll make it. But you got to be tough.
Markert's tough, but he's one of only a few farmers left in the Dime Box area and the last of his family to be in agriculture. In Lee County, Shel Winkley, News 3.
Well, ranchers are hurting the same way. The drought is drying out pastures.